everyone, welcome to the channel. I'm Aero Veloce, and today we're going to be going over the NRG Prisma seat. If you browse different sim racing forums or social media pages, chances are you've seen different variations of this seat all the time. And for good reason. The different color options give you plenty of choices to personalize your own rig, and you get a fixed back racing seat at a pretty affordable price, all things considered. And we all know how pricey sim racing can get, so it's no secret that we try to save money where we can. So being that this is one of the most popular options for sim racers, I definitely wanted to give it a try myself to see if it lived up to the hype. A friend and I were talking about different upgrades I wanted to do to my rig, and as we kept adding up the price and seeing it go up, up, and up, he suggested that maybe I try out the NRG seat since it's less than half of most traditional racing seat prices, and use that money I saved for the different upgrades that I wanted to do elsewhere. Normally I strayed away from NRG seats, especially for real car projects, but I figured for sim racing and the fact that my old seat is very clapped out and gives me lower back pain issues, that why the hell not, I'll give it a shot. And at worst, I could always return it back to Amazon. Now, NRG seats go for as low as around $280 on Amazon and $360 for the Prisma versions. And personally, if I were to do it again, I would pick the regular over the Prisma. And the only reason I chose the Prisma, though, is that I knew for sure that I was going to fit in it because I did try it out at SEMA, and I wasn't quite so sure with the other models because they're all slightly different in shape. But yeah, I definitely think the regular ones that are cheaper also look better than the Prisma. I'm 5 foot 8 inches tall and about 160 pounds, and I definitely recommend the large. I did try a medium seat at SEMA. I can't remember which model it was, but that was way too tight. And the large for NRG seats is more like maybe a small to American medium. So even if you're not exactly a huge person, I would probably still recommend the large. The seat is a fiberglass shell that's decently rigid. It didn't flex all that much when I try to manhandle it together. And it's much better than my old seat for sure in that regard. The material is a vegan microfiber. It feels pretty soft and pretty comfy actually. It does seem to get a little bit hot. So if swamp ass is an issue for you, this definitely isn't going to help in that regards, unfortunately. It does come with its own mounting brackets, which is a nice inclusion, as that usually is an additional cost for most other seats. I personally didn't use them though because I had more adjustable ones already. So the back has this really shiny and rainbowy metallic flake to it, which I personally really don't like, but some might love it, especially if you like driving really low and slow.
Yeah. Ooh, Ramon. Let's cruise, baby. Low and slow.
The cushions are really soft and plushy, almost too plushy for a racing seat, but it could be seen as a good thing for sim racing. Either the shape of the seat or the plushiness of the cushions did help my lower back, as I didn't really have any lower back pain issues anymore, which was nice. I do think the front leg cushions are a little bit too plushy because they lift your legs a little bit too high. Given how much I like to lean my seat back, kind of became a problem for leg room with my wheel deck mount. Results may vary in that regard, but yeah, I do think it's a little overdone. It also has these front phone cushions that are like in a terrible location. I'm not sure why you'd want to put your phone there. I tried it and your phone like just sticks up at your leg. Yeah, I could do away with that. The side bolstering by the legs is a little short, which makes getting in and out of the seat a little bit easier, which can be nice for a sim rig, but I personally like a little bit more locked in feeling and snug. So that I saw that as a downside, but I could see this being as an upside for somebody else. And the shoulder bolsters push your shoulders a little forward like most racing seats do. That feels okay, you know, kind of keeps you more locked in when your hands are on the steering wheel. But if you're just relaxing, kind of feels like it might be pushing you too much. I'd prefer the shoulder bolstering, so I'm fine with that, but just something you might want to consider if you have very wide shoulders. Having a more snug seat is definitely something I was looking for, given that I use a motion seat mover. So if you're in a motion system, you might also want something with a little bit more bolstering if you're being tossed around quite a bit. A really weird design choice for this seat was the hole where the 5th or 6-point harness belt goes through. It's completely hidden by the cushion instead of being in between both cushions, allowing the belt to go in between. Really weird design choice. kind of concerning for if somebody was to use this in a real car with a harness, because I feel like potentially that might be dangerous to the nether regions. Whether or not it caused a problem, I tried it with a 5th point harness belt and it seemed okay, but 5th point harness belts are just uncomfortable anyways. And I'm not quite sure if it causes any issues with 6th point harness belts, but weird design, kind of bad design in my opinion. But yeah, take it for what you will. Overall, I would say the seat is pretty comfy. It's kind of a hybrid, I would think, between like a comfort and a race seat, which isn't a terrible thing for sim racing, given that we don't really have to worry about G-forces or safety like we do in a real car. Fitment-wise, the seat was just okay. The medium that I tried was way too tight, so this large, while it felt good, wasn't as, snug like I like. And compared to like Sparcos and Recaros, those just fit me like a glove. Basically perfectly cradled in just all the right places. And I didn't get that from the NRG seat, so it was still a little bit lacking for my preferences. I have seen people much larger than me fit in the seat pretty comfortably, and comfort is always just going to be very subjective, and I just prefer more bolstering, a little bit more snug, just to get that, really good immersion. Overall, the comfort and quality seem to be pretty decent, except for a few important details. Little one was the stitching for the front pockets had come loose. It was a little bit loose, so came out, and that could be snipped. Not a huge issue, but the real issue came down to the mounting. When I was mounting the seat to my Sparco brackets, I noticed one of the front bolts was going in at a pretty steep angle, so much that it was actually digging into the finish of the bracket and only contacted the bracket on the bottom and not at the top. I knew this wasn't a good sign, and sure enough, when the seat was fully mounted, it was leaning left pretty hard. For me, this was a huge deal breaker, and one my OCD was never going to be able to handle. I wasn't in love with the seat, but I could live with the glitter bomb sparkles. But glitter bomb sparkles and a huge gangster lean?
Oh, hell no, man. What the?
I tried adjusting the mounts and making sure it wasn't something on my end in the mounting process, but nothing seemed to have worked, so I took the seat off and put it back on the stock brackets. Then I put the seat on a table, and as you can clearly see, you can rock the whole seat back and forth. The brackets are completely uneven, and bingo, we found the problem. I'm unsure if this is a widespread issue that's down to the actual mold of the seat, or if it's just limited to maybe a couple units. I did read a review on Amazon where somebody had pretty much the exact same issue, but the result is a no-fly zone in my sim rig, so I shipped it straight back to Amazon. The mentality I usually try to have when it regards to my hobbies is buy once, cry once, but every now and then I figured, I could totally save some money, and it always ends up biting me back in the butt. I just don't like making the same mistake twice. I usually do it 3 or 4 times just to be sure. With a seat, given how much you're going to be sitting on it and how much it affects comfort, I do think it's worth spending a little bit extra to make sure to get something perfect for you. Kind of like a bed, you're going to be spending half your life sleeping on it. You want to make sure you're on a good one. But unfortunately for me, that means I'm going to have to pony up for something a little bit nicer. I hope this review helps you guys out. For what it's worth, I do have a couple friends running NRG seats, and I haven't heard them complain about a ton of issues. So if you do want to play Gangster Lean Roulette, I'll leave some affiliate links down below. Basically, if you do decide to purchase one, I get a kickback that helps support the channel at no additional cost to you. So greatly appreciated if you do decide to go that route, which I would recommend going on Amazon anyways, because if it does turn out that you have to return it, way easier to deal with returns through there and cheaper. I would also recommend the non-Prisma version because it is a decent amount cheaper. Unless you really like the sparkle and the different colors. No judgment here. You like what you like. I like what I like. It's all good. If you did enjoy the video, I'd greatly appreciate a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you'd like to see some more sim racing content. And as always, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.